Capture that.
Well, once we got on orbit, we opened the payload bay doors to reject some of the heat, of course, produced by the fuel cells, and got our first real good look at the space hab and the back end of the payload bay and the orbiter docking system and the trajectory control sensors, those boxes right on the beam in the front of the cargo bay. Very happy to see everything was in good shape. We opened up the hatch to get back into the space hab a couple hours after launch, after verification that all of the atmosphere back there was good. And it's the first flight of a new habitable volume. It went just great. What a wonderful place to work and have all the logistics and live and sleep. It was just huge. I mean, it was like a big building inside. Here we are on the second day of the flight preparing the active rack isolation system, a risk mitigation experiment for space station, for test. We tilted the rack out just as people will do hundreds of times on the International Space Station. And this thing that about the size of a big vending machine here and about the same weight too. We're real careful with, and took all three of us to get that out there and make sure it was all in good shape. Then Carl and I went to work setting it up for what turned out to be many days of tests on board.
That bright star that you see in the center of the optical site there is the Mir station, and at this point we're about 2 miles away. And we're going to show you just a couple time slices here. Now we're about a mile away. Now we're getting to about 600 feet. And this is how we had the cockpit laid out. Terry was in the front, and he was doing the mid-course burns. Jay had the master checklist. And then Tom was doing the handheld laser, and Carl was working the camera as well. John was our communicator. And that left me free to do a little bit of flying. And what you can see here are the forward reaction control jets firing as we're approaching the Mir station. This is approximately 170 feet as we're continuing to close, and you can see the whole Mir station at that point. Shannon's eye view of us on our approach. Here we're about 10 feet, and you can see the docking module very well coming into the payload bay. This is a view out of our truss camera that was located adjacent to our docking system. And you can see that the closure is just ever so slow. It's about a yard in 30 seconds, so you almost can't walk that slowly. About this time, Tom is calling pedal overlap, and then when we get to 2 inches, we fire post-contact thrusters to just nudge the two vehicles together so that we get hard docking.
And there was great rejoicing.
On the other side of the hatch, too.
And this is Shannon in the docking module, waiting expectantly for our hatch to open here. And Bill is doing that right now. And of course, the Mir 22 crew, Valerie and Sasha and Shannon are there on the other side waiting for us. So Bill goes to shake Valerie's hand and gets brought into the docking module here, and this is a view from their camera on board Mir.
Well, with Mir hard docked to the shuttle and the welcoming ceremonies complete, it was time to go to work.
This is another one of the large storms we saw where we were up there, Typhoon Yates. Fortunately, none of them were around KSC on the 26th. They were just simply spectacular. If you could see those at night, you saw all kinds of lightning. We had the Mir crew over to the shuttle for a dinner that we hosted. We treated them to some freeze-dried local Cajun barbecue. They enjoyed that very much. And it was time to go, unfortunately. We had our formal farewell ceremony, said goodbye to really two very close friends of ours, Valerie and Sasha. And then we said goodbye to the new Mir crew member. And it was a very emotional flight, I'd have to say. It was emotional picking Shannon up, and it was emotional saying goodbye to John. If you look at the hatch that they're closing, you can see the docking target on it. And if you look carefully at a still picture, you can see the repair we made to it while we were up there. This is the undocking early in the morning. There's springs in the docking mechanism that push the two space vehicles apart. And then once you get 2 feet away, we activate the jets, and then Bill gave some pulses to separate us at a more rapid rate. Again, there goes the docking module away from us. We drifted out to about 150 feet, and then Bill and I traded places so that I could do the fly around. And my hat's off to all the ground people that arranged the timing, so we got pictures like this. This is the southern island of New Zealand. The Southern Alps are on there. Our geologists are particularly interested in this area because it has a lot of volcanoes and some geologic faults. Again, the mirror in another attitude during the fly around. It seemed to change colors depending on how close we were to the terminator. It was really, really beautiful. This is off the coast of Australia, and that's that island that the mirror is approaching right now is Fraser Island, and the town of Brisbane is just up the coast from that. Here's the northeastern part of Australia again. It's one of the capes up there, and what you've got on the left side, as we look at it, is the Great Barrier Reef, and on the right side of Australia there is the Gulf of Carpentaria. Again, we did the fly around to set up shots for the IMAX and again for mirror photo survey. Then it really was time to go home. We finished up the science and the packing in the back and closed the doors. Then we turned our space shuttle into the re-entry vehicle that it was designed to be. The pink out the windows is the fire or the plasma that surrounds the orbiter during re-entry. That stuff seems to reach a critical mass up around the tail, and you get the explosions like that give the orbiter a thump every time you see an explosion. That's sunrise over my right shoulder while we're in a row there. Bill?
Well, we had almost a 360-degree turn to get aligned with runway 15 at the Cape, and it was a right-hand turn all the way around. So I looked at nothing but instruments, and Terry had a real nice view of the Cape. Got rolled out on final, and it was just the most perfect day you can imagine to come back to Florida. Just a light breeze, about 80 degrees, and bright sunshine. Terry put the gear down there at 300 feet. Doing the final flare here at about 50 feet. We never did see the birds, by the way. And they're coming on in. And I'll tell you, the orbiter just handles like a dream. You can see a little bit of oscillation as the drag chute comes out. Nose is cushioned onto the runway by the drag chute disreefing, and then doggone drag chute works so good that you just don't even need any brakes hardly at all. And about 90 knots, we just kind of tested them just to make sure they were working. And we stopped with about 3,000 feet to go there at Kennedy Space Center. We had a surprise mystery guest welcome us home. President Clinton and Mr. Golden. We got a chance to give him one of our crew symbols and crew hat, and of course a Welcome Home Shannon T-shirt. So